So I think what we're going to do, Huey, I'm going to mute everybody. Is that okay?
Sounds good.
All right, I'm going to mute everybody and we will get the show on the road here. If we have to unmute ourselves, we can just do that, but that shouldn't be a problem. Huey, I think also we'll leave the meeting open, Like we're not going to lock it.
Yeah, I think that's a good idea.
Can you, and you can manage I'll manage the main sort of thing here. If you can watch the people coming in.
Yeah, because they're still coming in.
Yeah, that's great. Okay, welcome everybody to Learning Chromebooks. I think everybody knows, do you know Huey Popluck? Huey Wave? Huey's outside. He's having his floors redone, so he's got all his computer equipment out in the carport. So he's in a bit. So he said, Ron, you better take over the meeting today because I'm sitting here with my 1 gigabit connection in my studio here. So I think I feel pretty secure about that. And welcome everybody for coming. As you know, this is a monthly production that we do. This is our, what is this, our third?
Yes, our third. Yep.
It's our third. Yeah, this is our third that we've done, and we'll be doing them once a month. Now, there's a lot of information today that you're going to get. We've put an action-packed program together for you, but you don't have to write anything down. My advice for everyone is just to sit back, relax, and enjoy the program and watch the videos that we have for you today, because we're taping it. And you will get a copy of the presentation, a link to the YouTube video site, and you'll be able to watch the presentation again and use it as a training. A lot of these you could use them as training. The other thing is all the individual videos within the whole show today are also YouTube videos available as well, and we'll send you those links as well. Now, we know who everybody is here. Because when you registered, we needed your email address, and everybody that's here is registered. So we'll be sending you, even if you don't see us at Tech for Senior on Mondays, our show on Mondays, we will still be sending you the information because we have your email address. If you do watch our show on Tech for Seniors, again, in our newsletter, you will get the links as well. So we're going to be able to send this out for you, because a lot of times the information you want to look at again, or you might not need it right now, but you want to go back and look at it. So and please pass this around. This is a free service that Huey and I are doing. We hope that it's to promote Chromebooks, and so if you know people that are thinking about Chromebooks, just get them to sign up and learn a little bit more about Chromebooks. So that's what we're going to do. We have 3 videos to watch today. There's a short clip that I'm going to play first of all, and it's on tips and tricks. Is that the one? Is that the short one, Huey? The
yes,
tips and, yeah. Okay. So we'll play the first one, and then the second video is a half-hour video that I've made that's just come out. So we're going to show that, and it's about apps and extensions. I think you'll like that. And then there will be. And then we'll finalize the show with one on check the specs of Chromebooks, what Huey did. So we have 3 for you, and so sit back and relax, enjoy the show, and we'll talk a little bit between them. But we don't have a lot of time to talk because we have to get all these videos in today. So let's get started. I'm going to share my screen and the computer sound. And you should be able to see it. And then we're going to start now with tips and tricks.
Tips and tricks for your Chromebook. I'm Huey Poplock. Getting around Chrome OS. The Chrome OS launcher, the drawer-like interface that appears when you tap the search key or hit the circle icon in the lower left corner of the screen, is actually a powerful universal search tool. Just start typing as soon as it appears, and you can find and open apps, pull up websites, and even get answers to specific questions right then and there. No clicking, or digging required. And let's see. I am going to click on the search key. When I do, all I have to do is start typing, hit enter. It opens up the browser and takes me right to the website. That quick, that easy. The Chrome OS launcher has some easily overlooked extra powers too. Let's try typing in some calculations. Let's just type in 45302 and say divided by 29 and hit enter. And it brings up the calculator without me having to open the calculator and type everything in, figure out how to do it. I do it right from the launcher. Let's try something else in the launcher. $999 Canadian to US. Hit enter.
You didn't have to do this, did you?
And it's $761.51 in US value for that same computer. So you can type right into the launcher without having to open up the calculator, without having to go searching, without having to go to a website. You can do it right then and there. A very powerful tool and time saver for your Chromebook. You can hide the shelf. That's the row of pinned favorites down here at the bottom of your screen. You can do it by either right-clicking or clicking with two fingers or long pressing on it and then selecting the Auto Hide Shelf. So let's right-mouse click on it and Auto Hide Shelf. And then if we go away with the open up, if we open something up, it goes away. To bring it back, we just have to click, move it down to the bottom and click, and it comes back. I don't like that, so I'm going to go ahead and always show the shelf. And so it doesn't go away. Now you can also, when I right mouse click, you can change self position. And when you do that, you can move it to the left or the right or keep it on the bottom. It doesn't go on the top for whatever reason. Here's another trick that you can use with your Chromebook. You can quickly open any item on your shelf by pressing the Alt key and then the number key that corresponds with its position. For instance, the Chrome here is Alt, it would be Alt 1, Gmail would be Alt 2, Alexa would be Alt 3, the clipboard history program that I'm using would be Alt 4, and so on across the board here. So let's take a look at that. I am going to hold the Alt key down and then press 1 and my Google Chrome opens. Let's do Alt 5 and the TV listing program opens. Let's do an Alt 7 and my simple note opens. That's all there is to it. Very easy, very quickly open up any program from your shelf by clicking on Alt and then the number of its position. The Chrome OS boasts a distinctly Android-like combined quick settings and notification panel in its lower right corner. You can open it without moving your hands off your keyboard by pressing Shift-Alt-N. Let me show you what I mean. Shift-Alt-N, and it opens up the quick settings and the notifications.
Well, thank you, Huey. That's great. I'm just going to close that. And now I'm going to keep sharing my screen and we'll move right on into the second video now. this is a longer video, so sit back, relax, and enjoy it. Good day, it's Ron Brown talking about Chromebooks. Well, you've got your shiny new Chromebook and you're ready to use it, and there's nothing on your screen. So you're wondering, where the heck do I get programs? Well, today we're going to talk about where you get your apps and extensions to help you with your Chromebook. Let me start by explaining the difference between Windows and a PC device versus a Chromebook. You probably come from a Windows background and remember that we have programs with Windows. Well, with a Chromebook, we have apps and extensions, which are a little bit different. Let me explain about programs in Windows. Those of you who have had Windows in the past understand that when you install a program into Windows, there's a whole bunch of stuff that gets dumped into the operating system. In fact, the program becomes part of the operating system. And there's a lot of files that are installed, such as DLL files and so on and so forth. The problem is when you want to get rid of that program, oftentimes it's very difficult to pull all that stuff out of the operating system. And then after a while, you've been installing programs, your Windows machine doesn't work that well. It slows down and bogs down, all leading to problems with Windows. You have a Chromebook. That's great. You don't have any of those problems. Because you see, the Chromebook works fundamentally different. The Chromebook works with apps and extensions. So what is an app? Well, an app is a piece of software, but the Chromium operating system treats apps as hostile. Well, what does that all mean? Well, it means that the app doesn't install into the operating system. It sits on top of the operating system. And the operating system looks up there at the app and says, you are a bad guy and you're not coming in. So there is no interaction between the app and the Chromium operating system, which keeps you secure. And what does that mean for you? Well, it means you can download and install all apps you want, and then you can delete them. So you can have lots of fun. And there's hundreds of thousands of apps. You're going to have so much fun with your new Chromebook installing all these apps. All right, so you shouldn't be afraid of that. They're not going to install into the operating system, and they just sit on the surface. The second part of this is going to be extensions. And because your Chromebook is primarily a Chrome browser, a lot of the functionality of a Chromebook comes with extensions. So today in this video, we're going to talk about apps and extensions and where you find these things, okay? And that's what we're going to talk about today. All right, there are two places that you can find apps on your Chromebook. Both of these sites should be installed already on your Chromebook. The first place is the Chrome Web Store. We'll show you that in just a minute, but this is where you can download and install apps and extensions. This has been available for Chromebooks since the very beginning when Chromebooks were launched. Now, around 2019, Google made a big announcement and said that all Android apps that are on your smartphone would be available to use them on a Chromebook. This was a big announcement and pretty significant for Chromebooks. You will find, if you've bought a Chromebook recently, that the Google Play Store now is also pre-installed on your Chromebook. So you also can go to the Google Play Store and download and install Android apps
on your Chromebook. These by and large will work well. Over time, Google is slowly going to phase out the Chrome Web Store, and most everything will be done through the Google Play Store. But for now, you should have both on your Chromebook, and we're going to show you where these are in just a moment. Here we're going to start at the Start menu. And if we go to Settings, bottom right-hand corner, let's go up to the Settings icon. And here it is, and we'll click that. And now we're going to come down. We're going to scroll down on our page until we come to the Apps menu. And you'll see it says Apps there. And then we're going to come down to the Play Store setting here. This is called the Google Play Store. Click the little button to the right, and you're going to see that it's already installed on my computer. But I could remove access to the Play Store. And there may be situations if someone's going to be using your Chromebook or you may be setting it up that you don't want people to have access to the Play Store, and that's where you would remove it. But you should have, your Chromebook should come with the Play Store installed. If not, that's where you would install it. Now, managing your apps can be done from this menu. And we're going to click the little bar to the right, the little arrow to the right. And bingo, this brings up all the apps that are installed on your Chromebook. Now, there are some times when you might want to look at these, and let's take a look at the first app called AccuWeather. There are a lot of options here. Now, you normally don't have to really look at this menu, but you can pin to the shelf. You can accept notifications or not, and you can look at your permissions for all the apps in your Chromebook. So if you didn't want to get notifications on a specific app, then you would simply turn off notifications. Let's go down to the launcher again, and now we're going to go to the Web Store. So we click the Web Store, and this is going to bring up the Web Store. And you'll see we have a menu here that says Extensions. But we're going to go to Apps, and we're going to type in Google Photos. And we're going to search for the app Google Photos. But you know something? There is no Google Photos app. That's because Google is really phasing out the Chrome Web Store. Most of the apps that you're going to look for will be in the Play Store. So let's go and close out of this. And we're going to go over to the Play Store. So click the launcher again. And now we're going to come to the Play Store. You probably recognize this because you've used it on your Android phone. And up comes the Play Store. We're going to come down here till we see the Google Apps. We're going to search.
To open a list of your installed apps, tap Installed Apps.
Now we're going to search, and we're going to type in Google Photos. And you can see now on my machine there is an update. Now if we click the update, it's going to update our app. So if I click this, you'll see that it's going to start updating. Now this is normally going to take a little while because Google Photos is a big program. So I think that we're not going to wait around too long, or we're not going to wait for this to complete. But you would normally just leave this running in the background. You could minimize the window, and you could go on to other activities on your Chromebook. The apps on your Chromebook will automatically update, so there is no reason for you to manually go in and update. I just, with Google Photos, tend to be really, I use it every day, and I do a lot of teaching of Google Photos, so I want to make sure I have the latest version. So I find myself always heading in there and checking and seeing if there is an update, as there is today. Now remember, that's the Android app, and that would be the same on your Android phone. Also, let's look at the store here. You can do games. These are all the games that are available. There are movies that you can watch on your Chromebook. These are all the movies, TV, top selling, genres, family, studios. And also the books you can get, all the books, audiobooks, all those books along there you can get. And you can, if you click the little hamburger menu at the top, these are the Google Play Store settings, including how you may want to pay for some of these apps if there's a charge. I want you to look at the bottom shelf of my Chromebook here. On the left-hand side, you will see 2 Google Photos icons and 2 Google Drive icons. They look a little different. So what's the difference between the two? Well, you're so lucky to have a Chromebook because you can have 2 different versions of the same software. So this is you'll notice Google Photos. There's a Google Photos with a white circle, and then there's one with a little dot. The same thing with Google Drive. So what's the difference between these? Well, let's have a look at this. So you'll see the little dot by this Google Photos, and you'll see over by Google Drive, there's a little dot as well. So let's have a look at the Google Photos with the white background. And this brings up my Google Photos, and this is the Google Photos app. This is the app that's on your Android phone, or it is the app that's on your Chromebook. And in the case of Google Apps, the Google Apps is more functional than the Google website. So let's close out of that, and now we're going to go to the Google Photos website, and this brings up my Google Photos, but it's at photos.google.com. It's not the app. You see, it's at photos.google.com, and it looks different because you can see the web browser. Again, this is the one that's the app. So those are the difference. So there's a difference between the two. This is Google Drive. This is the Google Drive app. We click this, and this brings up my Google Drive app that you would find on your Android phone, or of course it's on your Chromebook. Let's bring up the Google Drive website, and it's at drive.google.com, and you will see that at the top there you have that's the URL where it's at, and this is the web version of Google Drive. You are so lucky to have a Chromebook. This is an app called Snapseed. And Snapseed is an advanced photo editor that I'm going to show you how to use now. So we're going to come over to the launcher, click the launcher, and we're going to go to the Play Store. Click the Play Store, and we're going to come up to Apps. And in here, we're going to type in Snapseed. Well, I've already typed it in, so we will do that. And it's going to take us to a free Google app called Snapseed that integrates with Google Photos. I'm not going to open it because it's already installed on my Chromebook. So we're going to come back down now, and let's go along the shelf. Remember, we called it the shelf, until we come along to Snapseed, and I'm going to unpin it because I have it pinned to the shelf. So I've unpinned it. Next, to pin it again, we'll just run the app and click pin. We right click over the app, and it'll pin it back on there, so it's always available for you. Let's open it. Let's open it, and let's add a picture in here. So when we click on the add the picture, you'll see Google Photos is linked into it now. We'll come up and have a look. I don't think I have any pictures on here. We could look at images to change, but I don't have any on my Chromebook here. So let's go back to Google Photos. Now let's go up to all my photos, and let's click on this picture. Now, I'm not going to go into all the advanced features of Snapseed, but the first thing is you'll see there's all sorts of colors that you can set. These are along the right side. The next thing is a whole menu of editing tools that you can use to change your picture. These are much more advanced than the ones that are resident in Google Photos. So there are a lot of things that you can do with your picture, a lot like Photoshop, but free. Now, you come here and you can share your picture, you can save your picture, export it, or even save it in a file on Google Drive. But the cool thing about this app is that most people can only use it on their Android phone, which is a small screen. You get to use it on your Chromebook, which is a big screen. Wow, this is so cool. Now I'd like to play a short video I made a couple of years ago on pinning your apps to the shelf on a Chromebook.
Good morning. It's Ron Brown from the Silvercom CTC Chromebook user group. Today, I'm going to show you how to move some apps onto your shelf in your Chromebook. I would like this done prior to our next SIG, which is Thursday, March the 7th at 10 o'clock in the classroom. So today, you probably recognize this as your Chromebook. You'll see the shelf, which we call the shelf, down at the bottom here. And what we're going to do today is we're going to move 2 apps to the shelf, the 3 apps to the shelf. They are called Files, Google Drive, and Docs. So here we go. Taking your Chromebook, now you can either use your mouse, your trackpad, or you can do it with your touch screen if you have one on your Chromebook. So you're going to come over to the launcher. This is this little button here on the left-hand side at the bottom of your screen. The bottom bar here is called the shelf on a Chromebook. So we're going to take and open up our launcher, and the first thing that you're going to notice is that there are 5 apps in the first view here. These are the last 5 apps that you have opened. But the apps that you are going to put on the shelf are not in this view. So we're going to click this little button up here, and this opens all your apps. Now, the 3 apps that we're going to do are Files, Google Drive, and Google Docs. So the first one that's obvious is the Google Drive app, which sits right here. You can see it here. Now, how do we pin this to the shelf at the bottom of the screen? If you have a mouse, you come along and you will right-click, just hover your mouse over Google Drive and right-click your mouse, and you will see another menu come up, and it simply says, and then you just select Pin to Shelf, and this will pin it to the bottom. And we'll do that in a minute. That's if you have a mouse. Now, if you don't have a mouse and you're using your trackpad, if you hover your cursor over top of the Google Drive app logo there, and you do a 2-finger click on your, we'll hover over here, and if we do a 2-finger click, it opens the window up, and you'll be able to pin it to the shelf. The third way in which you can do it is if you have a touch screen. If you take your finger and you put it over top of Google Drive. Now, if you touch that icon, it will, of course, open the app. What you want to do is push down and do a long hold. So you take your index finger and you actually hold it, push it right on top of that touch screen, and you hold it. And that will, of course, bring up your menu again. So let's go ahead and let's pin this to the shelf. And now you see at the bottom, we have the Google Drive pinned to the shelf. Now, I said the next one that we want to do is Google Docs. So we're going to come down here, and again, this is our Google Docs app, and we're going to pin it to the shelf at the bottom. So what I'm going to have you do again is, if you have a mouse, you will just hover over top of this app, you right-click, and it will bring the menu up. If you have a trackpad, you'll do the 2-finger click, and it will bring up this menu, or a long press. And we're going to pin to this shelf. And now we have the Google Docs pinned to the bottom shelf. So let's look at the last one we want to do are the files. Oh, it's right next to here. So we have our Files app. Again, you have 3 ways of doing it. I'm going to use my mouse today, and I'm going to right-click, and we're going to pin it to the shelf. Now, we have all three apps pinned to the shelf. So if we come back and click the launcher button, we'll come back to the screen, the main screen. Actually, this is Chrome we're in now, and you'll see that we have these three apps ready to load here. So we don't have to go into the second or third screen. These are all ready to use, and we're going to be using this Thursday. And I'd like you to all have these three apps moved onto the launch or the shelf prior to our meeting. Hopefully this instruction will work out well. This is the first of a series of instruction videos I plan on making. We'll see you all Thursday.
In this segment, I'm going to show you how to place the Google Photos website on the Chromebook shelf. Also, I'm going to show you how to put the Google Photos app on your shelf like you saw in the previous video. So let's watch this and see how it works. Now watch my cursor as we move along, and we're going to come to Chrome. We're going to open Chrome up. We're going to come up to the top, and you'll see, of course, the 9-dot menu. Open this, and we're going to open Google Photos. This is the Google Photos website. You'll see it's at photos.google.com, and what we want to do is we want to place this on the Chromebook shelf. You'll see this also has the uploader feature, which is not available on the app. So we have the best of both worlds. Click the 3-dot menu at the top. We're going to come down to More Tools. So watch as I scroll down here. I'm going to keep coming down, and we come to More Tools. And we're going to come over to the left and go to Create Shortcut. Click the Create Shortcut, and here's what we're going to do. We're going to create a shortcut, and this is going to go on the shelf, the Chromebook shelf. And that's what it's going to look like. So we're going to create this, and we're going to come down and look. Where is it? It's not on the shelf. All right, let's close out of this. Now, as we come down to the shelf, remember, I have already pinned Google Drive, the app, and the website. Remember, we saw that earlier on the shelf. So let's do this, and let's get things organized now. So as we come over, we're going to come over to the left, and we're going to click the launcher. We're going to launch this up. We're going to click the little up arrow here, and here's where we need to come. So now we see the white in the background here. Remember the Google Photos on white background, that's the app that we have installed on our Chromebook. To pin this, we're just going to right click and we're going to pin it to the shelf. And now we have the Google Photos app pinned to the shelf. Now then we're going to come over here, and this is the website. Oh gee, Google Photo, come on Chrome, they've now got two different images here. But this is the one we created. We're going to right click on this, and we're going to pin this to the shelf. Now we have, let's close our launcher. We have our two icons. One is the app, which we're going to click this, and you'll see this is now the Chrome app. This is the same as on your Android phone, much more functional than the website. This is really what you want to be using, and the advantage is we can use it on our Chromebook. The other one here is we click this, and this is the web-based version, right? So one of the advantages of Chromebooks is you can have both running on your Chromebook. We've now seen how you can get apps for your Chromebook. I've showed you where you can get apps. You certainly can get them at the Chrome Web Store or at the Play Store. I've showed you how to install them and also pin them to the shelf on your Chromebook. But there's another way that we can get software to be useful on our Chromebook, and that is by using an extension to the Chrome browser. And really that's what you're using mostly in a Chromebook, is the Chrome browser. So an extension is a piece of software that makes the Chrome browser more functional. In this example, I'm going to use an extension called a custom cursor. This is an extension that you add on to your Google Chrome, and this will give you you can do custom cursors, and I'm going to show you how to do that now. So now we're starting our Chromebook again. We're coming down to Chrome. We're going to come over and we're going to come to the launcher. We're going to go to the Chrome Web Store. And I'm just going to scroll down because I can actually, we're looking for extensions. We could do a search, but I know the extension I want. And I'm just going to scroll down here. And we should come up in a minute. Here is the extension I want. It's an editor pick, and it's called a custom extension. It's got 4 stars and a lot of good reviews. Click it, and then the next thing you see, there's a little icon here that says Add to Chrome. And that's exactly what we're going to do. We click that, and we read this, and then we can just go over, and we're going to add the extension. We click on Add Extension, and we get a message saying, thank you, it has been installed. So what does that mean? Well, let's close out of this, and let's close out of this, and we'll come back and let's look at our Chrome browser. Let's go up to the Extensions menu. We'll come up to the right-hand side, and we're going to come over to the Extensions menu, and we're going to come down the menu items here, and we're going to find, there it is, Custom Cursor for Chrome. I'm going to pin it. There's a little pin here. If I click this, it's going to pin it to the menu system at the top here and make it a little easier to find. It's probably something I'm going to use a lot. Let's click the 3-dot menu. And let's come down to More Tools, and let's go over and click Extensions. Now this brings up all your extensions menu. And let's go down and have a look at Custom Cursor for Chrome. So the first thing is you can turn this extension on or off by the toggle switch here. This is the toggle switch, so you don't actually have to remove it. You could if you wanted to. Let's look at the details. Well, these are all, it tells you the version, the size, and also some options that you have for toggling on or off with this extension. Extensions are a lot of fun. You should probably not have too many extensions open at one time. Probably 6 or 8 is fine. Well, I hope you've enjoyed watching my video as much as I've had making it. It's been a lot of fun. We've looked at how you get apps and extensions onto your Chromebook. We've looked at how safe these are. I've showed you how to pin websites to the shelf, such as Google Photos, and also how to pin apps to the shelf. We then looked at the extensions. We installed an extension which added increasing functionality to Google Chrome. Hopefully you've learned something from the video. You can go back and play segments of this for educational purposes. It's Ron Brown with Tech for Seniors. Have a great day.
All right. So hopefully everyone isn't asleep. So I think we'll move on now, and we're going to play Huey's next segment, and that hopefully will leave us a little time for some questions at the very end. So I'd like to move on and just play this. So we'll start the next video.
Check specs on your Chromebook. I'm Huey Poplock. There is a way to find out what the specifications are for Chromebooks. So how can you get the specs of your Chromebook? Some of us in user groups are inquisitive and want to know that kind of information. Or sometimes we need to have that information from you if it's your Chromebook, if you're looking for some help, either hardware or software-wise. If you're looking for a full spec overview of your entire system, you can do that from the Chrome browser. Open it, and type this: Chrome://system in the browser. And when you do, it's going to go to About System, and it's going to go find a bunch of information. The screen will display literally everything about your Chromebook in a long list of more or less randomly ordered information. However, this tool is aimed squarely at the major Linux techies. Unless you know precisely what you're looking for, it can be a little overwhelming, which is a polite way to say useless. And so we're going to take a look at a couple other things, but let's look at this. Obviously, you can see that there are some things here that don't make sense to us, and it says expand, and if we expand it, this is in more than the average person wants to know or can understand. But any of these that you expand, you'll see lots of information that's pretty useless to most of us. And so this wouldn't be the way to go to get information about a Chromebook. But there are some Chrome Web Store applications. Thankfully, there are 2 apps available on the Chrome Web Store that provide a vastly more useful and readable version of this information. The apps are called COG, C-O-G, and System, and every Chromebook owner should have both. Note that COG and System will work on non-Chromebooks too. They're just really great system information apps for the Chromebook. So let's take a look at COG first. I have already gone to the web store and put it on my system, so I can find it, and it looks like this. And so we're going to click on it, and this is COG. The COG application was developed by a guy who works for Google, and it is a very powerful and easy to use app. COG breaks out your system information into different categories, providing charts where possible to help you understand the data. Among other things, you can use COG to view the operating system. You'll see it here with the version, the platform, which is Linux, in case you didn't realize it, the CPU, the architecture, and it also shows you the CPU usage live, and the memory usage, and that's down here, and how much memory you have, and the battery status and level. Now, currently, my battery is charging. If I unplug it while we're doing this, you'll see that it's saying discharging, and it'll get, sooner or later, it'll come up and tell you how much time is probably left, and it's usually not very accurate. For some reason or another, this computer never is accurate on the timing. So I just plugged it back in, and it changes to charging. It also tells you your primary language of your Chromebook and any plugins that you have in your Chromebook. The application is easy and clear to understand with a very simple user interface. The other application is called System. And I have it right here. First thing it comes up, it says something here, and I have to just hit cancel, and it goes away. So System is an application for Chrome that provides the same information as COG, but breaks it up in an even more user-friendly way. The left-hand side of the app breaks the data into several categories: general, storage, display, network, media galleries, current location, and app settings. This makes it easier to drill down into what you're looking for. Let's take a look at each one of those. Here's the general. It gives you that it's a i3 Intel. There's 4 processors. There's 4 gigabytes of memory. And I'm using 3.47 of it, or 86% of the memory. And it gives a capacity. And then the operating system is the Chrome OS, and the fact that we're online and the machine status is available. Under storage, I have 2 drives. One is a removable. It's an SD card. It's 100 and I think they call it 125 gigabytes. This one shows it 134. And the drive that's built into the SSD that's built into the Chromebook is also 125, and they rated it 116 gigabytes. Under display, it shows that we have one display and it's built in. It has a native resolution of 1536 by 864. Under network, it shows some network addresses that I'm in. Media galleries, I don't have any. Current location, it actually gives me the latitude and longitude where I'm sitting right this moment. And then the app settings, send anonymous usage data, and I have no idea what that is. This makes it easier to drill down to what you're looking for within this application. These 2 applications give you the system information you need without having to hunt all over your Chromebook for the information you want to know about your Chromebook and the Chrome OS. So that's cog and system. You know your Chromebook runs at a certain gigahertz, has so many gigabytes of RAM, and has a certain CPU in it. But what does that really mean? Is there a way to directly measure the performance of your Chromebook versus other Chromebooks or even other machines and get a fair assessment of its performance? Well, as it happens, I read an article that says there is. It's a benchmark called speedometer. It's from a website, browserbench.org, and has the advantage of measuring things other than just the speed of a JavaScript engine on a computer. Let's take a look. Once you get to browserbench.org, you want to click on speedometer. Let's look to see what about speedometer is. Tests the browser's web app responsiveness by timing simulated user interactions. You can read that on your own. I'm not going to read the whole thing to you. So let's take a look at speedometer. I'm going to start the test, and then I'm going to speed ahead to towards the end of the test, because it does take several minutes, and you don't need to sit here and watch it do the test. And we have a final score of 24.7. Now, we ran this test while recording using Screencast-O-Matic. We're going to do a test without recording it, and I will show you the results with a screenshot. When I reran the test without recording, it came up 56.1. Here are the results from 3 different devices. 18.8 is an older iPad Air. The 56.1 is my Chromebook. And the 66.64 is my NUC, which has 64 gigabytes of RAM and has a 10th generation i7 chip in it. Let's see how to show Chromebook's process memory, CPU, and network usage. On a regular PC, you might use an app like Task Manager to see how much memory, CPU, or network bandwidth an app is using. On a Chromebook, you'll need to use the Chromebook Task Manager. What you do is you open up Google Chrome, look at the 3-dot menu up here at the top, click on it, go to More Tools, click on it, then you want to come down here to Task Manager. And there's a Task Manager. Very similar to what you have on a PC, showing all of the things that are running. And you'll notice as I move up the screen, or down the screen, however you want to look at it, there's a lot of information there. And you can end any of the processes. I don't suggest you do that unless you know what you're doing or if there's a problem with one of the tasks. But you can sort, obviously, by the memory footprint, or we can sort by the CPU usage. So you can see what's using a lot of CPU. I'm just using the computer itself, the Chromebook computer. But as I said, you can sort by any of these columns. And you can also sort by the tasks and make them alphabetical as well. And that is the Task Manager on a Chromebook.
And that's it. I had fun making those. Lots of interesting information, I hope.
Yeah, so are there any, I know that's a lot of information for everybody. Bob, just a minute, I'll get your question in a sec. I know that it's a lot of information for everyone, but the idea of this video is you can play it back and you go back and you can look at it over and over again. Bob, go ahead. You'll unmute? I can't hear you.
Share anonymous information.
It's something I would uncheck. Google gets enough information. You don't have to give them any more.
Okay, thank you.
I'm not even sure it was Google. I don't know where you were sending it, but I'm not even sure that was Google you were sending that to.
Yeah, that was in COG. I'm
It
not
is.
sure whether it sends it to Google or sending it to COG. So
Yeah. But I agree with Bob. You don't want to keep that ticked. Any other questions? I can't see everybody on the screen. Jeff, did you have a question?
Yeah, if I load up a lot of extensions and things on my Chromebook, does it load them up on my Windows browser as well?
Yes. Well, if you have them synced, and I would assume you would, as long as you're logged in, all your extensions are the same, no matter what device you're on. And again, for the extensions, I would caution you on the number of extensions that you use. I have to tell everyone a bit of a story. There was a lady who came to our class a couple of years ago who had a brand new Chromebook. She got her Chromebook and I showed her how to use it and that was fine. She came back a month later and I said, well, how do you like your Chromebook? And she said, I hate it. And I said, why? And she said, because it's got so many ads on it. And I said, ads? I've never heard of ads on a Chromebook. And I said, well, let's have a look. And she had 6 weather apps and 22 gambling apps on the Chromebook. No, extensions. These are extensions. And you really have to be careful because a lot of these have either ads in them or they put an extra bookmark bar on you or something like that. So you have to be careful. But the nice thing about a Chromebook is you can turn the extension off easily by that little toggle switch I showed you. So you don't actually have to remove it. So if you want to just turn them off and maybe use them when you want, you can certainly do that. So you just have to be careful.
absolutely.
Any now I can't see all your screens. So if someone
Chris
wants
has
to
got his hand up.
Yeah, Chris, go ahead. Unmute yourself.
I just have a couple of comments that might be helpful. If you have a Chromebook, you probably ought to subscribe to something called Chrome Unboxed, because they do all the reviews. They have a lot of very good update, not just updates. We'll call them tips and tricks, and let you know what's going on. It's sort of the for me anyway, it's the Bible of what's going on the Chromebook. And then there's something else I have. By the way, the recent reviews, they do very thorough reviews of all the new Chromebooks that come out. And there's one in the last couple of days that said that the best Chromebooks of 2020, and it lists 3 of them with some references to others. So if you're looking for one of that, now I want to emphasize this. The Chromebook to me is a mobile device. It's most of the time made small, lightweight, pick it up, carry it in the living room, put it down, go to someplace else with it. Some of you are using it as a desk model, and that's fine too. But because it's a mobile device and you want to get the most functionality and use it most efficiently, well, you need one of these. Do you notice what that is? It's a mouse track. And because when you use excuse me, my phone is driving me crazy here somewhere. Anyway, when you use the Chromebook, you want to get used to using the trackpad, because it makes it much more functional. You just get used to it, put the mouse in the drawer when you get it, and start with a trackpad. Because when you use the trackpad, your keyboard's right there in front of you. You don't have to keep reaching over, and there's a lot more functionality with a trackpad there is with a mouse, because you have 3 clicks: left click, right click. You can move the cursor left and right, and I would very much encourage you to do that. And so there would be no external devices hanging on your unit. However, when you're buying one, you should look to see what connections you have on the side. Sometimes there's only 2 Class C connections, and they're for power, for data. But some of the Chromebooks have even a USB port HDMI port and a USB port, an A port and a C port. A lot of those things make a difference. Even if you don't have them, you can buy a hub that hangs off them. I guess that's enough right now.
Yeah.
I gave up 2 years ago. I put my Windows machine on the shelf when I've been using it since Windows 3.0, and within a couple of weeks I haven't picked it up. And the only reason I picked it up this morning is it still has a CD drive in it. Anyway, that's it.
Yeah, I also highly recommend a touch screen if you're going to buy a Chromebook. I think having a touch screen just makes the whole thing so much easier. Most of the apps are Android apps, which were designed for the phone, which is a touch screen. So using them on a Chromebook just makes it a lot easier. Ron, we also had a question in the chat box. Does Snapseed app work the same with OneDrive as Google Photos? I'm not familiar with Snapseed, so I'll give that to you.
Not sure what it would have to do with OneDrive. Is Microsoft's cloud storage, so I'm not sure what Snapseed would have to. You could certainly save your picture to OneDrive. I mean, that's not a problem. It would export it as a file, so you could certainly save it to OneDrive. That wouldn't be a problem, no. But remember, Snapseed is only it's an iOS and an Android, so you can use Apple or Android. You can use it on either one, but it is not available on a Windows PC. It's not a PC or not PC oriented. It's only an app for Android or iOS. And that's the great thing about a Chromebook, is that, remember, we can use Android apps on our Chromebook, which gives us a big screen and makes things more functional.
And you can use OneDrive from your Chromebook. Right. And you can also use your Google Drive and then access the Google Drive from your PC. So you can do some kind of work on your Chromebook and then pick it up on your PC later on.
I think that's what we're going to cover in our next month, is I want to do the application such as says OneDrive and how you can use that with your Chromebook as well. So we'll be doing that. Chris, did you
I have a couple more comments. If you're using your trackpad, you hardly ever touch the Chromebook screen, because most of the things you do on the Chromebook screen are very, very fast using the trackpad. I mean, if you're using the mouse, maybe you are doing that. And another thing I mentioned is Huey. in the first video showed the shelf on the bottom and how you can turn it on and off. There's actually a setting, and I don't remember where it is, where you can, when you bring the cursor down to the bottom of the screen, the shelf comes up, and when you bring the cursor up, the shelf disappears. So you don't have to go turn it on and off. It just, if you get the settings right, it automatically happens.
That's the auto hide feature. That's the auto hide feature.
Yeah,
Right.
and that's what I was showing. Yeah.
Yeah, that's it.
Okay.
All right,
Yeah.
it's 12. It's 12 o'clock. I think that's probably the end of our show. I want to thank everyone for coming. Thank you. We will, as I said, it's being recorded, and we will be getting the copy of the recording out to you, as well as the links to the individual videos that you saw today. Remember to sign up for Tech for Senior newsletter, and we can keep in touch with you. And on behalf of Huey and I, we've had a lot of fun today. We had a lot of fun making the videos, didn't we, Huey?
Absolutely. I had fun, and I'm glad I did it in advance, because as I said, I'm sitting out here in my carport with my computer that I usually use for my meetings in pieces, because the whole house is in pieces.
All right, spread the
Get
word.
close.
Let's see everybody a month from now, and we'll see everybody back, and enjoy your Chromebook.
Thanks, everybody.
Bye-bye now.
Thanks.
Thank
Bye-bye.
you, everybody.